Showing up, right? I hear that there are some people in this room who showed up at 5 a.m. in an airport in Toronto to wait for a plane for 6 hours to fly halfway across the continent. Where are they? Congrats. So you showed up. And some of you set your alarms this morning to show up for the dance party, and you followed the plan to get up and to be here, and I want to congratulate you. Because the people that show up like this are the 1% who, or 5%, whatever statistic you look at, of entrepreneurs who are going to succeed. So start with me for a minute, because I think that you can find another example. Think back over the last year or two over something that's really, really gone well for you. Something you wanted to have happen that then did happen. Kind of nod when you've got it. Okay, good. I'm betting when you think about that, whether it was a relationship you wanted to improve, a weight issue, a finance issue, that when the rubber hit the road, you showed up. When it came time to choose between the donut or the protein bar, staying on your phone with your kid holding your hand like this, or talking to the kid, or putting a little bit of money away for savings versus going on vacation, that you picked the protein bar, the kid, and the savings, if those are the things that you were after. And it was about showing up when it was the most hard to show up. So I want to talk to you about something that's interesting about finances in our business. And I'm going to give you an example, a very recent example that Angela's very aware of, wherever you are. And we had 20 entrepreneurs who literally had just paid a lot of money and invested in their businesses to launch or scale immediately. They were where they needed to be. It was a beautiful venue. It was a wonderful speaker. And of the 20, anybody want to guess how many showed up?
5.
Who said that? Spot on. 5, a quarter of them. And I was not confused by this because I've seen it happen over and over again. I've talked to thousands of entrepreneurs, and I know that we all know that we want to own and understand our finances, our money, this fuel that drives the engine, which is our business, right? So there had to be some reasons that we were willing to be what my friend calls a 67% CEO. If you think about the business in 3 components, let's start over here. You have how you deliver what you do to your clients, your superpower, right? Then you have this area that the really sexy speakers are going to come talk about, which is marketing and sales and getting people to your door. And then we have this third called finance. And we show up for 1 and 2, but we don't necessarily show up for 3. And I've talked to thousands of entrepreneurs. I've worked with dozens of entrepreneurs. And I've broken it down into 4 things that tend to drive the fact that I am known amongst my peers as Hallway Pam. Okay? So I'm going to have one of these corners today. And I'm going to take bets on how many people show up in my corner versus all of these others. For God's sake. You've got Angela talking about lesbian sex yesterday. You've got me talking about finance. An actual lesbian talking about finance. Where are you going to go? What you're probably going to do is find me in the hall in a corner where nobody's going to see you. And not because I'm a lesbian. At least not with this group. But that's okay. But I really wanted to understand was the why. Why is that? And I came up with 4 reasons that I think they are. And one of them is, anybody want to guess? Shame, embarrassment. So hold that thought for a minute. I'm going to come back to it. A second one is time. We're busy. We don't have time to look at a piece of paper every single time that truly might not make any sense to us and try and understand it and ask the questions. Next one is frustration. This takes the form with one of my clients of, I'm going to kill my bookkeeper. Which point I said, you don't want to do that because then they can't post the bail and it's a really nasty loop. And then the last one is fear. I heard somebody say fear. We're fear of what we're going to see when we look at that road ahead. And that one's interesting. So I'm going to talk about 2, 3, and 4 in my corner, along with something else that I'll tell you at the end. But right now I want to talk about this one back here. And I want you to listen to me. Look around this room. And I'm not someone who deals in absolutes, hard as that is to believe. I don't deal in absolutes, but I am going to here. Every single person in this room, from the newbie entrepreneur to the person you look at and say, oh my God, they've got the successful business, they're the most successful person I know. Every single one from here to here has uttered this sentence about their finances. I'm so embarrassed, but, and fill in the blank. I am betting that every single one of you right now is filling in that blank. At some time in your career, you've had this issue with money, myself included. So let's deal with embarrassment. If you are embarrassed about your finances, know that in this room you are not alone and there's nothing to be embarrassed about. Nothing. Your superpower is in finance. Luckily, somebody like me was born, as Liz said, understanding two-sided accounting. You don't need to understand accounting that way. And you don't need to be embarrassed, just like I don't need to be embarrassed that I don't understand marketing. I can't get people to my corner to save my life, right? But I'm not embarrassed about it. I have fun with it. There are other people with the same issue. So let's put that one to bed, can we? Can you raise your hand if you're willing to just put that one to bed? Do not be embarrassed about your finances. Everybody has the story. Okay? So that's that one. And now I'm going to cover the other 3 in my corner, but the thing that I want to talk about in addition to that is the reason not to be scared is because there is a lot more there than you think in the numbers that you're choosing to ignore. And it's information that can help you in your business. And I want to give you an example. Generally, as an average with my client, through going through just 3 or 4 things, we find money sitting in their business already. You want to have access to that. You want to be able to get at that in order to free up and live your dream that your superpower put in your way, quite frankly. Your superpower said, I have to do this. You're in this room because you have a mission to fill. Whether we like it or not, money needs to fill that engine. So let's get through all these pieces. Let's call me Hallway Pam, and you can go ahead and find me in the hall. Let me talk to you about what it is that's on your mind with your finances, because I'm betting not only is there a good story hiding in what you're not talking about, you've characterized it as this horrible thing. I've done it myself. The cobbler's kids has no shoes. Come on. I've done it myself. But let's have the conversation. Make sure that the people and the things that are giving you the information that makes up this gobbledygook called finance and is right now possibly a gray cloud hanging over your head, let's clear the sky on that. Have a conversation with me in the hall. Come to my corner. Show Angela. But let's take care of this for you. In fact, I'm going to pop up on the screen in case the hallway even isn't your thing. My phone number, feel free to text me. One of the things that I think you know, at least from this talk, is that I would love to talk to you about your situation and see what we can do to help and get you more clarity and confidence and find money in them there hills. So thank you for showing up. You've done 90% of the work. Let's do the last 10. Thank you, guys.